So hi, it's Tom Butler from IGN here. I'm here with Simon Harris of BBC Worldwide, the executive producer of Doctor Who The Eternity Clock, coming out in March for PlayStation 3 and Vita.
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so if you want to talk us through the some of the basic gameplay mechanics.
So what we wanted to really try and do with this game was build a game that really felt like an interactive TV episode. So we worked with the main actors from the show. So we had Matt Smith come in and do a load of motion capture for us, which you'll see in a second.
And there's a lot of nods to the show in the voice acting.
Yeah, so the voices, so obviously Matt did the motion capture and he did the voices. Alex Kingston also did the voice for River Song, and we facial captured the actors as well to try and give the sort of highest quality for our cutscenes. So this is our first level. So the Doctor has just crash landed on Earth and worked out that there's a temporal maelstrom encompassing the entire planet. And in true Doctor Who style, so what he does, he walks out the front door to find out what's going on. So we start off in the vault of the Bank of England in the present day. So he's got the screwdriver, the sonic screwdriver, which is so key part of the show. So in the game, you can use the sonic screwdriver to scan your environment and try and find out what's interactive, get hints about what you have to do. So here, because this is our sort of tutorial level, it's just informing you that you can use X to jump and climb up on the various different blocks. But as you move through the game, you'll be able to use the screwdriver to sort of get hints and tips from the Doctor, work out how you're going to solve puzzles and what you need to do. And this is an example of one of the first sort of interactive mechanics. So when you come across locked doors in the game that you can interact with, you get the R2 prompt, you bring it up and then you use the right analog stick to match the waveforms, which unlocks the doors. So we wanted to make sure that the game had loads and loads of really cool stuff in for the sort of true hardcore Doctor Who fans. So we have the Doctor Who, we have two types of collectibles. We have the Doctor's hats. As we know, Matt's had a real obsession with hats since he took over as the Doctor, from the Fez to the Stetson as well. The second collectible we had is River's diary pages. So when we first came up with the idea of the game and sat down with the production team in Cardiff, we wanted to find out ways that we could offer something to the fans that they'd never get to see in the TV show. And so we actually give the fans an insight into what is written in River's diary for the first time. So there's a whole bunch of River's diary pages you have to collect, and they're going to show you insights into some of the things she was thinking about as a character when she was in various episodes of the show. We've hidden a whole bunch of hints about the future of this series, because we see this as being the first in a series of games around the Doctor and the Eternity Clock, and just some really, really sort of cool, fun things for fans to find. So this is set in present-day London, currently in the Bank Vault of England. The game is actually set across 4 different time zones. So there's present-day, there's Elizabethan London, and there's Victorian London, and then there's future London as well. We also have the ability to play in the Stormcage facility, so you actually get to see a bit more of that the show's never shown before. We have a cyber factory. We have under the 19th century England with the Silurians. We have a Silence time capsule, and we have a Dalek flagship to play in as well. We wanted to really build time travel into a game for the first time ever for a Doctor Who game. So we introduced that in 2 very simple ways. The first way is that, as I've mentioned, across the different time periods, the Doctor jumps around in time. So you continually visit the same physical locations, but in different time zones. And then the second way is through what we call time-delayed gameplay, which is where the Doctor will go off and do something in single player. So for instance, you'll go off and you'll cause something to happen in a past time period, which means that something changes in the future. And then when you finish that, you'll then get to take over as River, and then you'll have to play, usually avoiding a monster, for the amount of time it took you to solve the puzzle as the Doctor. So there's always an impact. When you're playing on a 2-player co-op version, then it'll all be about sitting next to each other on the sofa, going, "Come on, hurry up! I can't avoid the Cybermen any longer," whilst your companion is actually then still solving the puzzles. So now we're going to look at a level from later in the game. So this is actually inside the Cyber Factory, where the Cybermen have been converting the citizens of London into Cybermen. So the Doctor and the River here have to break in and work out what's going on. Because this is still fairly early on in the story, they haven't actually worked out what is causing the time maelstrom, but in here they discover the first piece of the Eternity Clock with the Cybermen.
So in co-op mode, the other person will be controlling River at this point.
Exactly, and so in this sequence, because I'm playing single player, I'm going to play it first as the Doctor, and then I would have to go through and play itself the next bit as River. But yes, in co-op player, one player plays the Doctor and one player plays River all the time. So you're off doing different things. So whether that's in the same location, such as this bit of gameplay, or if you're in different time periods. So whilst the Doctor can take damage whilst you're playing, if you do run out of health, what happens is the Doctor, as fans of the show will know, never dies. So what actually happens in our game is the Eternity Clock resets time. So you get then reset to a checkpoint, which allows us to deal with the thorny issue of both from a gameplay point of view, how we introduce that challenge, but also from a story point of view, what happens with a character that's actually practically omnipotent. So here you see one of our little mini games that we use at various points during the game. Here I'm redirecting energy in order to open the doorways. So people always ask how much of a challenge it is to build a game with a completely pacifist character like the Doctor, because he has no weapons. And we think we're really happy with how we've done that by bringing in the challenge of exploring and navigating the environment and solving puzzles. But if you really have to have a gun in your hand, then you can always play as River, because she still has her blaster, which we can see her using here to disable cybermats or open doorways. So as a PSN title, what we wanted to do was use some of the gameplay mechanics and genres that are really established on PSN. So we decided to go with a side-scrolling gameplay, but then we felt we wanted to take it a little bit further, and so here's a really good example of how we've actually, even though as a player you're only moving from left to right, we actually do have complete 3D environments. And right behind me there you can see the Cyber Planner. So I mentioned earlier on about designing and building new content for the game that was exclusive for the game, and this is an example of where, working with the production team, we got to actually build a brand new class of Cybermen specific to the game. So this type of Cyberman's never been seen in the games before, it's never been seen in the show, it's completely unique to us. So he's a massive hologram, he's got an enormous big central thing at the top of him, which is where the brain is. And he's controlling the whole environment, and he's busy converting the entirety of London.
If you want more information on the Eternity Clock, which is out in March, stay tuned to IGN.com.